My name is Dirk, and I'm now a member of parliament. Like you, I'm in the Budget Control Committee because the European Commission has a lot of money and a lot of power, and that's where you control it. A lot of businesses, but also a lot of NGOs in Brussels are paid by the Commission. And we started investigating that. We had access to some of these contracts. And you know that they have around 9,000 of these contracts.
9,000?
Yes.
With the money of the taxpayers?
Yeah, with the money of the taxpayers. So there's all kinds of think tanks, God knows what, even media, yeah?
Fuck. Do we have statistics about the money?
If you look into the contracts, if you look at the amounts, sometimes it's quite shocking, because we're talking about salary levels, travel compensation, and it is always very high. I don't want that with taxpayers' money, they sort of spread the message in the system. And that's why I call it the shadow lobby. If they want to defend a proposal, they need to come to parliament and defend their proposals. Just go out there, defend your shit. And I think one of the explanations of the rise of people that have given up on government, it comes from this super technocratic, almost uncontrollable system. If we don't make it controllable for people to understand, sorry, people will give up on politics.
I gave up myself on politics before, so I'm one of these people.
The problem is we do so much over-promising and so much under-delivering. In sort of, we're doing everything. Everything is important. No, not everything is important. There's war. There's a huge global trade problem. People cannot pay the electricity bills. Young people cannot find affordable houses. How the hell are we going to solve all the problems? Europe needs to focus on the big things, yeah? And shut up on the rest.
Who are you?
My name is Dirk. Dirk Gotink. I'm Dutch. And I've been walking around in parliament for about 16 years.
16 years?
Yeah. And I'm now a member of parliament. This is my first mandate.
What an amazing story. Tell us. So you've been working as staff.
Exactly.
Here in the parliament with other members of the European Parliament.
Exactly.
Other important members of the European Parliament.
Well, I was spokesperson for Manfred Weber.
Can you put the microphone a bit more down? So, yeah, now.
Okay.
So we have for short form content not to be in front.
You want to see more of my face?
Yes.
Which
is important because you have a beautiful face. I love this relaxed conversation in the parliament. Yes. By the way, continue.
So in the last mandate, the last 6 years, I worked for Manfred Weber, the chairman of the EPP group and the president of the party.
EPP group is the biggest political group here in the European Parliament. Yeah. I tend to in this podcast, we don't forget that nobody knows about the
EU. Yeah. No, we are explaining is fine because Europe is complicated. Yeah, it's complicated.
Very complicated.
Many nationalities, many different political groups. I mean, in the plenary, even in the EPP group, in the biggest group of the European Parliament, I think there are more than 60 political parties, you know? So imagine
all the countries.
From 27 countries.
There is 60 political countries and under the umbrella of
the
EPP group and 190 something
in the whole plenary, yeah.
In the whole
in the whole
EPP
group. Yes, in the EPP group. So it's the biggest, it's almost 190.
It's kind of center-right for people that they don't know.
Yeah.
So you've been working since day one in the EPP group?
Well, I did different stuff before I came to Brussels. I worked in international trade. I worked in Mexico. I was in Italy for a while. I was traveling around.
Doing what types of jobs?
In Mexico, I worked in import-export, so international trade.
Okay.
For a family business. I was in marketing a bit. I got into politics very late.
How old are you?
I'm 42.
Good. Yeah, I know you feel bad that I'm 25.
You're 25. That's a scandal.
You can continue. Explain how was in the parliament.
That's why I go to the gym more than you.
No, we go. By the way, guys, this is where we meet. We meet in the sauna and the gym in the parlor. So you are going to hate us. We're the elites going in the sauna and talking.
Well, listen, we work a lot. I see you work a lot. I mean, you try to make something out of your mandate, yeah? And I told you need to join a political group to make that work.
Yeah, every time that he sees me.
Yes, because it's not working like this. If you want influence, you need to join a political group.
That's a topic maybe for another time because I want to draw from your brain other things than your advice about this, because we talked about it a lot of times already together. So briefly, so it's amazing. You've been 15 years staff, and then you decided to run as in the European Parliament, and you got elected. You are from Netherlands.
Yes.
And you got elected with a party in Netherlands.
With a new party. So there was a new party created it's called the New Social Contract. It's they're now in the government, and within a year they did very well in the elections, and and now they even have an MEP.
You are the
the one and only
interesting
MEP for this new party in the Netherlands. Yeah.
So you were in the creation phase as well. You were one of the creators of the party as well.
No, I wasn't one of the founding members. But it's a small. I mean, it's only a year or 1.5 years. So it's.
By the way, I want to, guys. I'm not bringing you here bullshit people. You are good. You have a lot of experience in the parliament, and I see a lot of, we're in similar committees that we are. For example, we are in Cont. We are going to talk a lot about budgetary control, how they spend their money, and you're going to mention some scandals, some problems that you think we are not spending our money efficiently. But I see your amendments. Amendments means that change of regulations that you do, and they're very good. Not always, 90% of the time. I agree.
Thank you.
I agree.
90% is good.
90% I'm voting for your stuff. So we're trying to bring you here the most effective, the most interesting MPs with a lot of experience to teach us. So I will allow you to kind of give us a brief of what you are doing in the European Parliament now. What is your focus, and then hone down to the...
Exactly. Okay. So what a member of the European Parliament does depends a lot on the committees where you are member of. Yes. So like you, I'm in the Budget Control Committee. I want to control the expenditures of the European Union, and especially of the European Commission. Yeah?
Very cool committee.
Yes, a lot of stuff goes on there. Why? Because the European Commission has a lot of money and a lot of power, and that's where you control it. Yeah. And it's very difficult to control the power of the Commission, and we will talk about it.
Because we need to explain everything and always.
Yeah.
The Commission is kind of...
Is the government.
The
ministers.
And we are the ones with the...
We're the Parliament. We're the members of Parliament. And as in any Parliament on Cyprus, in the Netherlands, we control the government. We control the ministers. The ministers have to do what the Parliament says. But some parliaments are stronger than others. Yeah. So stuff that happens here would never be possible in the Netherlands, because the parliament...
So you think we're a stronger parliament than the local parliaments controlling the government?
In control, we're weaker.
Weaker.
Yes. In making laws, we are stronger. But in controlling, we are weaker. And that's a big problem, I believe. So another committee where we
are the only elected officials.
Yes, we're the only elected ones. And because the Commission is the most powerful executive in the European Union. It's stronger than any other member state, any other member state government. And it has a lot of money. It is geopolitically now basically representing all the member states. Yeah. So who talks to, who does the trade stuff with the US or with China? It's here. It's Ursula von der Leyen. It's the Commission. They have a lot of power. And I think, if we want to protect our parliamentary democracies, we need to control that power. And that is a big issue here in Brussels, because we're good in making laws. We're good at spending money, but we're not good at controlling power.
And how we do it is slowly Parliament gets more power with voting the regulations, the correct regulations that the Commission needs to...
For example, in the Budget Control Committee, where we work together, that is where we say, hey, Commission.
By the way, I recently joined this committee 1 month ago, and I love it. So cool committee.
Because it's about the money. So you
can understand everything that the European Union does from the money it spends.
Exactly.
You follow the money and you see
follow the money. Exactly. Don't listen to the blah, blah. Yeah. The words are just words. And then we have to ask where do you put the money? Yeah. And that is what really counts. And that is also taxpayers' money. That is also where we can make a difference, as parliamentarians, because our priorities are maybe not the same as some other members of parliament. So I mean, that's our job. We were elected. I feel I was elected to also, in a way, hold the Commission to account. Not because I don't like the Commission. That's not the point. The point is that
I don't like the Commission.
I know, but that's it.
But I like the European Union.
Yes, but you need so you need an executive, yeah. You need someone who's just
I agree.
They have to do stuff, do stuff, and then you need a parliament to control them, and that's where we have a challenge.
Okay, let's go to the thing that we're here to talk about.
Yeah, well, we've been working a lot in the Budget Control Committee on show us what do you do with spending money in Brussels, because people think that Brussels spends a lot of money out there on Cyprus and in the regions, and we do a lot of things, billions. But they also spend a lot of money in Brussels on think tanks, on NGOs, on businesses. But what do they do with that money? Well, in many cases, they do lobby. They try to influence policy decisions. And it started actually, the research into this money stream started last mandate when with a big law, the Nature Restoration Law. It's a big, very famous law about biodiversity. And there was a big political fight about it. And we noticed that the Commission was helping NGOs and businesses and networks here in Brussels to lobby us, MEPs. And they used also
with the money of the taxpayers.
Yeah, with the money of the taxpayers. And also with privileged information, because the Commission is the best informed institution in Brussels. They are in all the negotiations.
So they can lobby before it's even out. They can find the targeted people. They can know everything.
They know who is in favor and against. They know who's still doubting, on the fence. So they have a very, very privileged position in terms of information and in terms of money. Yeah. So there, with this nature restoration law, we saw.
What is this law? Can you tell why it allows this? So this was voted the previous...
in the previous mandate. And it became a big political fight because the EPP at some point said, okay, now, no, this is too much. Yes, because it would put very strict targets for biodiversity and nature restoration, especially in densely populated areas, in urban areas. And already we were feeling the push and the difficult issues of the Green Deal. We want to become a cleaner continent, but at some point we need to be able to actually do it, and that people can still pay for it. And that became a huge problem. And this law, basically the EPP said, okay, now you're going too far. We need to be a bit less ambitious. And that became a big political fight. But in the Commission, they didn't accept it because they wanted an ambitious plan. And they started helping parties outside, third parties, lobbyists, with information. So we have documents where actually the Commission helps NGOs with draft tweets, statements, Q&As, defensive lines, all that stuff. Everything you need to do a campaign. That's what they were doing.
How do we have this evidence?
Because we got the information package that they were sending to the NGOs and the businesses.
So the Commission will have the emails and all the stuff that they send to...
So, yes, and that's when Parliament said, okay, now that's enough. We want to know what the relationship is between the Commission and all these other parties. And then we started asking for the contracts, yes? Because a lot of people, a lot of businesses, but also a lot of NGOs in Brussels are paid by the Commission. A part of their income comes from the Commission. And we started investigating that. And in the Budget Control Committee, we have had access to some of these contracts. And you know that they have around 9,000 of these contracts.
9,000?
Yes.
Contracts that they are paying money to NGOs?
No, not only NGOs. There's all kinds of systems, all kinds of structures.
Or single people.
Or think tanks. God knows what, even media. Yeah? Media. So I want to know what is in these contracts. And what are the rules of engagement? Yeah, because the other day,
are they giving money?
The other day, I had. I'm not going to show her name, but there was the deforestation law. We voted on that here. Yeah, and there was someone at the elevators waiting for me, and they had called my office many times. Yeah, and they were waiting for me, and they were pushing me on this, and they went until my office door. And then I told my office, okay, check if these guys are paid by the commission. Yeah, and they are paid by the commission. So I'm not against NGOs, right?
But not paid by the government, by the taxpayers' money.
And at one point, are you not a non-governmental organization anymore? Because NGO is non-government. But if your budget is paid for by the government, because the commission is the government, yeah?
And it's illegal. It's illegal.
No, it's not illegal. That's the problem.
It's not illegal.
It's not illegal. No, because the rules for the financing have been made in such a way. But we've been trying to broaden the scope. See, is this only around the climate issues? In some areas, it doesn't exist at all, these kind of contracts. But we see stuff around the migration issue. We see stuff around the trade issue. And there's a lot of things that, I don't know, that we still have to do in the Budget Control Committee to really investigate and understand how this works. And I think the red line for me is simply no lobbying with public money, with commission money. And that's why I want to know in Brussels how the money flows go.
Do we have statistics about the money? How much money it was spent? How many people there were involved?
It's difficult because if you look into the contracts, already if you look at the amounts, sometimes it's quite shocking, because we're talking about salary levels, we're talking about travel compensation, we're talking about accommodation costs, all that stuff. And it is always very high. And so there you can have...
So you said 9,000 contracts?
Contracts, yes.
So that means that this can be 1 million contract for this one?
No. I think that...
How...
They gave us back a number, so this high, because I said I want to see all the contracts. And the commission said, well, if we have to do that, if we have to prepare all the documents for you, that will take years because there are so many. So for me, that is already a big indication that, so there's no rules about this stuff. And the commission has already admitted that this is a problem, yeah? So just for the record, the commission knows that some of this stuff is not cool. It's simply not cool, and they have to stop it. And now we are in the process of looking at, okay, how will we change the rules? Because this is not possible that either here in Brussels or in other capitals, because maybe, they can also give money to organizations that then try to influence national decision-making, yeah? And I've called this a shadow lobby.
What do you mean?
Real lobby, if I know who I'm talking to, because here everyone's a lobbyist, yeah? You know how it is. It's difficult to
also, you are a lobbyist and I'm a lobbyist.
No, we're members of parliament. But everyone who comes to us, yeah, they have interest. They want us to talk about stuff. But somehow, some NGOs think that they're not lobbyists, yeah, because they're saving the planet, yeah. And I think that's not really fair, because I think you still have to be transparent about where your money comes from, yeah. And it's not transparent. It's very difficult to understand where the money is coming from. I want to know, also from businesses, I don't care. I don't care if you're an NGO, you're a business, you're a think tank. I don't care. I just want to know where your money's coming from and what exactly your interests are.
Can we draw similarities with the USAID?
I don't know. I don't know that good enough, But
maybe the USA through USAID was doing similar things in Europe with the lobby.
No, but that was not lobby. That was not lobby. Listen, the USAID, the fact that, and we probably don't agree on this, but it's a big problem for the world. Yeah, that for the health situation in Africa, for example, USAID was really important for developing countries. So I know because my country has a lot of also development work, and I get a lot of signals that the gaps now that exist because of the cutting of USAID is risking lives. Yeah, so I think it's a mistake.
The mistake to reduce it at all, or is a mistake they did some mistakes with cutting the funding?
No, I think that because they went so radical in cutting it. Yeah?
So you were against the radical, but you are pro improving the effectiveness of the.
Of course.
Okay,
we need to.
So we're not. We're not.
Okay, so then
we're on the same page.
Okay, good. So to my knowledge, and I don't know, but that was not used to lobby. For me, I'm talking about the separation of power. The government, the ministers, if they want to defend a proposal, they need to come to parliament or go to media and defend their proposals. Damn it, just go out there, defend your shit. I don't want that with taxpayers' money, they sort of spread the message in the system. And that's why I call it the shadow lobby, because it happens without seeing where the messaging is coming from. And that goes through the media, it goes through the NGOs, it goes through the businesses. And there I'm simply saying, then we lose sight of the separation of powers. Yeah, you have the government, you have the parliament. And of course, media needs public funding, but then it shouldn't be directly coming from a government, a ministry, who has political interest, political agenda to defend. So that's what we're looking into. And
I think I understood. We all understood the concept. Now is how do we tackle this and what we need to do?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Because again, Europe is complicated, Okay, depends. Fidias, what do NGOs, in principle, do you think society needs sort of civil society? Do you think that is important?
I'm not very sure, but yes.
Okay. So I agree. It's just that for me, a lot of civil society has become institutionalized. It's not society anymore. It's just professional lobbyists. That's also this idea that NGOs are all these idealist backpackers that come here by train and no way. They're global campaigners. They are the influencers of 10 years ago.
And they are not backpackers. And they are not for the vision. They are not. We speak with them all the time.
Exactly. We know who they are, and they are amazing campaigners. They know online they know their shit. And they have influenced the political agenda more than any other sector in the last 10 years. Where do you think all this the legislation and the targets come from? So I think, first of all, we need a realization. No, sorry. NGOs, you do good work in many places out there in the world. But when it's about influencing policy, you're just another lobbyist. And I don't make that distinction because I want to avoid a conflict of interest. I want to be that there's transparency about money flows.
You are saying that we need to label them as lobbyists, not
for me,
NGOs.
We need a definition on what is an NGO, because we don't know. What is an NGO? Everyone remember with the whole the Qatargate thing, the huge scandal.
I don't remember because I was not here. But I know
you read about it in the press.
I spoke with Eva Kaili about
exactly. Well, a lot of that scandal circled around an NGO, a human rights NGO, which was not really an NGO, but they got money from the commission and they, they behaved like an NGO. So in that sense, I think it's better for everyone that we define, what is NGO? Secondly, I think...
What is NGO? So you are just saying, let's make them not NGOs, lobbyists.
Exactly.
There is no definition. If you are around here and you are lobbying
exactly
for your policy, you are lobbyists, not an NGO.
And then secondly, the commission should not be paying money to institutions that are trying to influence members of parliament. Because if they want to defend their agenda, they should do it themselves. If this would happen in the Netherlands, if the Ministry for Economy would put out a communication campaign without being transparent about it, and to say, okay, let's talk about a certain, the digital transition or energy transition, renewables, give the positive vibe, create a positive vibe around the story, preparing the minds. That would be a scandal, but here it's very normal. And I know the political cultures in many member states are different, and I accept, to a certain extent, I accept that. But here we have a problem of separation of powers. And that is where I think we need to work together in the Budget Control Committee.
But how, we agree for the Commission to stop funding these NGOs. But how do we stop them?
Because we make the rules.
Okay, let's explain me what we do in the parliament for us to stop because I'm also new here. You've been here for all your life, so please enlighten me.
Almost all my life. So the commissioners, the ministers, they have big funds that they can use. And then they have to listen to parliament a bit about, okay, what are the priorities? Where do we focus on? And for example, on...
A bit, do you think they listen a bit, or they listen a lot?
I think it depends per ministry. It depends per ministry because, in the climate and environment ministries, they're very convinced about what needs to be done. And if the parliament becomes more critical, that's difficult for them to do, So if we say,
we fit their agenda, it's easy to follow.
Yeah.
Whenever we don't follow their agenda.
Yeah, but you know what? That's in every member state. In the Netherlands, it's the same. Ministries have also their ideas, and they've been working on it for decades, and they have certain plans that they want to develop. And but that's what I'm saying. That's why we are here to control. And to say no when it's not possible, and to say, okay, go for it when we agree, and we say, okay, full pull, Then the thing that we need to do is look at all these funds and the rules that exist for this kind of for these kind of activities. And in the big climate fund, the LIFE fund, basically the rules were so broad that they could do everything.
So we need to restrict them with the regulation.
We simply need to rewrite the rules of these funds. Yes.
Rewrite the rules how the funds are used.
Can be used. Yes.
That's
what we need to. That's what we need to do, and that will happen this mandate. Because we will get to the end of a multi-annual financial framework
in 2027.
Exactly. You probably already have heard about it here. Crazy thing that Europe...
for everyone to know, this every 5 years, 7 years.
Yes.
Every 7 years, we decide the budget, how it will be spent the next 7 years.
More or less, yeah.
Which is a big thing here.
1,000 billion. 1,000 billion euros. Yes?
1,000 billion is the first time that I hear this. 1,000 billion is like a trillion.
Yeah. But if you say a trillion, nobody knows, yeah? So if you say 1,000 billion, maybe you can get an idea.
Grasp of it.
Yeah, grasp of the size, yeah? It's huge. It's huge. And in the end, it's not so huge because it's like 1% of the total, let's say, size of the economy of Europe, yeah? So, but together, for the Commission to spend this kind of money is a lot of money, yeah? That's what I'm saying. We need to control that better. Because in many places, it's not going really well with the spending of EU money.
So explain me exactly what is the timing. So are these need to be initiated by the groups? Is going to, when the time will be to decide about the next money, we're going to put these restrictions and these rules in? How exactly this will happen?
Well, we need to look at, I think everything comes together. Depends also on fund per fund. It's very complicated because it's decentralized. But for me, you have to start with the general financial rules. And one of the rules of engagement for the Commission to the Parliament is you don't use money to somehow influence us via NGOs, businesses, whatever, think tanks, I don't care. Yeah, that's one. And of course, you can organize a seminar and you can write a paper if you want. But when it is about active campaigning, showing up on my timeline, with targeted ads.
You can't. Where do you draw the line?
Yeah,
You can
it's difficult, but we need to talk about it.
make a seminar.
I think, sure. And if I want to go to that seminar, I go.
What do you mean? Make a seminar, but you have the tools. You can come here, make a hearing with the MEPs. You can do stuff that, as commissioners, as the parliament, you can bring
you
your
can do
people.
everything.
You can do everything. So maybe not outside your responsibility. Maybe a seminar is not a good idea. I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe
I don't know. It's interesting to define the lines.
Exactly. So think about it. A commissioner has a massive team and a massive budget. They can do whatever they want, yeah? And they're on the podium here every week. You see commissioners all the time, yeah? So if they feel that they don't have enough impact with sort of creating a good vibe around their proposals.
And they can send emails to the MEPs. Everyone will accept. They can make a meeting with 10, 20 MEPs at the same time. Everyone of the MEPs will accept. It's our bosses, basically, kind of.
Well, the ministers are important. So you talk to them, and because I also want to communicate with them what my priorities are. Yeah,
and we're not allowed to use our money to lobby them with.
Exactly. Exactly.
So why to be vice versa?
Exactly. We should use our money to lobby the commission. No, you see, that's where it goes wrong. Yeah, that's where this huge gray area of already. People think Brussels is this massive bureaucratic gray zone of lobbyists, only lobbyists. And where is the voice of the people here? Yeah, who's controlling this power? Who's controlling this? That's very important. And I think one of the explanations of the rise of simply people that have given up on government, because they cannot be trusted. It comes from this. It comes from this super technocratic, almost uncontrollable system. If we don't make it controllable for people to understand, people will give up on politics. They will choose anti-politics, yeah? And they will choose businessmen as their heroes for politics, yeah? And that's what's happening now. That's why it's so important. That's why, and there's a lot of resistance, and people don't like it that we look into this stuff. Because of course, the lobbyist used to be an assistant here in Parliament, will maybe be an advisor in the European Commission. Will maybe, and this goes round and round and round and round because it's a small world,
And when you have experience and people, you are valuable and you get promoted. And you become a lifetime lobbyist and you have so many connections and you become...
Exactly. And now I'm not judging anyone for that. So I'm just saying that we need to create rules for that.
There is a problem also with bureaucracy here in Europe. We agree with this.
Yeah.
So do you think this is a bigger problem with the kind of structure of the lobbyists? If you put the they are similarly big?
For me, the problem is, the way we make laws involves many, many parties, many member states, institutions, stakeholders. It's a very open process. And it's very difficult to keep to sort of, understand, where's the Parliament's role? Where's the Commission's role? Where's the member states' role? It's a mess, A lot of the time, European politics is a mess.
I've been here for 8 months and I understood kind of how it works. Day and night, you see me that I'm trying to understand and be useful here. And I don't fully understand. Is that a problem?
No, well, if you go in a national parliament, it's also complicated. You have the way people do things. Yeah, you have the culture, you have the norms and everything.
Well, I'm an advocate for simplicity sometimes.
Yes. So I think one of the big issues where people get absolutely, totally crazy is the complexity of today. Yeah, the complexity of everything.
And also that's why nobody follows European politics and they're following local politics more.
Yeah.
European politics affect their life 60% more. In their local politics, 40%, let's say. Yeah. And they spend 80% on local politics and 20% or 10% on European politics in the countries.
But you know what? If they would have a feeling that their voice counts, then they would pay attention.
Yeah.
But that's the tragedy, is that if you also look at the participation in European elections, I mean,
It's very low.
it went up, because of the war and because of the big global shit, that we've been going through. But if we give people a voice, if we show them that they can actually have input, that they feel that there's a feedback
and
mechanism.
that's the goal. That's why you're here.
That's why I'm super happy you're here, because you're one of the unique people that have access to a lot of people who have given up on politics altogether, given up on it.
Because I gave up myself on politics before. So I'm one of these people.
Yeah, but politics is not a foreign thing. It's us,
Yeah. It's us. We forget this, that these aliens, bastards, that they're deciding about us.
It's all us.
And we forget that it's humans. They have problems, that they're trying to make their ideas possibility.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is corruption, of course, and all this stuff involved. But we are all together deciding for our future. So if we have this view, it will be a lot better. We talk so much like politicians. It's amazing.
Already? You sound like a politician already. Yes, you sound like a politician. You should do a poll. Do I sound too much like a politician already?
Yeah. But I'm not against change, but at least for the good direction. I'm becoming a politician.
We have to speak a normal language, be honest about stuff. And also, when it's about controlling how we spend money, come on, man. We have a right to know, especially here in European Parliament.
Do you think the Commission is not doing enough on transparency?
Oh, totally.
The Parliament is doing good on transparency. I think if a market gets B+, the Commission gets C-, maybe.
For sure.
You agree with me?
Maybe even a D.
Yeah, maybe even a D.
Because if you see how difficult it is for us to get these contracts.
Yeah, to understand, we are members of the European You spend so much time and you still don't have all the information.
I don't have all
for a lot of months and probably years, a lot of people.
Exactly.
So it's a problem. That
trying to get information is super difficult. And then if you get it, how they send it to me is on a secured line. I can only open a document on my own computer, and in the background of the paper, you have all my name over it. So that if it somehow leaks, that they can trace it back to me, Cool. And I have to sign a document.
Tell them, got you. AI is here. I can put it to AI and can remove all this stuff that you wrote my name on.
Yeah. So that also shows that transparency is not their first reflex. Yeah. And for me, I understand that they need some area where I don't want personal information and all that shit. Oh, I don't want that. I don't care. But what I want is what is in the documents. What are you doing with our money? And what am I voting for?
With the fucking taxpayers' money.
Of course. Of course. So we will be voting next week in Strasbourg about the discharge.
Yeah. That we've already voted in the committee.
Exactly. And that is the process in which we say, okay, for the year 2023, we agree with the way that you spend your money. Yeah. And now we have some critical issues to say about what happened in these cases. And we will not go in slash and burn. Yeah, because we want to be serious and we want to actually solve this problem.
What do you mean slash and burn? What you were going to do if you were slash and burn?
Slash and burn is
what you were going to do.
Just to deny discharge for everything.
Oh yeah.
And to say, Commission, we don't believe anything you say. I'm not that kind of politician.
We have this. If we don't vote for the money to go to them, we can stop the process.
Yes.
So you are saying. By the way, I'm open to the idea.
I understand you are.
I am open to the idea.
Slash and burn.
But you think this is not the way. Do it. We give the money for a lot of people to continue doing their work and a lot of things.
This money for lobbying activities should stop now and already.
I mean about the rest of the
rest of there's a lot of stuff.
But if we didn't vote for the discharge, we could stop.
No, it wouldn't stop automatically, but it would be a strong political signal. But you know what? We have more influence. And that's maybe a good message for you as well, Just because that we vote against stuff, then you're just on the sideline, What I want to do is I want to put pressure, talk to them, criticize, be strong against them, sometimes vote against them, but also when they have sort of showed that, okay, yeah, we know there's a problem here, but it's not that easy, yeah, but we're working on it, then I can also say, okay, let's take a step forward. We can vote for the discharge, okay?
Politics, give and take.
Give and take. I mean,
smart give and take, right timing, knowing.
Rome wasn't built in a day, you know? And a better Europe, it will not be built in a day.
You know what I understood about diplomacy, because I had a completely different perspective. Like I am like, let's fucking do it now. Yesterday, let's all get together and build this in a minute.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is how you cannot go anywhere. We are going to make a lot of disruption than helping. In politics, I think methodically and doing smart moving, choosing your battles, and also going with the flow for other people to see is very smart sometimes. And to be long-term thinking, methodical, and only on the right thing. So I agree with you. I think the right. This is
what they say in this. I think it's an African saying, but they have many in the same. If you want to go fast, you go alone. Yeah, but if you want to go far, you have to go together. Yeah. With Europe, that's
them on the other side.
That's I think that's the way it is, and it's frustrating. Yeah, very frustrating because it's so slow. And look at the world. Yeah, the world is changing so quickly, and we are waiting. We are waiting.
Yes.
And I think many people at home, they're also saying, "Shit, come on, guys. Get your act together." Yeah, the world is spinning around so crazy fast.
You have this feeling with me. I have the feeling. Is a question. I have the feeling that Europe is kind of confused and lost its direction recently. Do you agree with this? On geopolitics, with the United States, with everything that is happening, is like we are confused.
You know. But we were like best friends with the US. And now the US told us, no, we're not best friends anymore, you know? So we're a bit in an identity crisis because, you know, the American president, he's damaging a lot of things that have been important for us for decades since the Second World War. So now we have to get our shit together. We have to understand that our economy and our security, we should be able to
take things in our hands.
Take things in our hand, totally. And you know, the problem with that is, for that, you need to start working together a bit more. And you have to also accept some things that maybe you didn't accept a while ago. We need trade agreements, you know. I think we have that trade agreement with Latin America, but France is still saying no. Yeah.
So you are pro Mercosur agreement.
We need
Mercosur agreement is the agreement that you have with the country of Brazil, Argentina, and all these countries for better trade with no fees and
cheaper trade. And
we're going to benefit that we're going to get a lot of agriculture stuff, and they're going to benefit. They're going to get a lot of electronic stuff, kind of mutual.
Más o menos.
Means
more or less.
More or less, yes. So I oversimplified it. Yes. Probably I'm wrong. Yeah. I'm missing a lot of stuff.
I'm not going to correct you, Phidias.
No, please. It's correct.
It's fine. It is basically it's correct. But there's much more there because Latin America is not only agriculture, of course. It's also raw materials, you know?
Yeah.
Where do we make our batteries? How do we make our batteries? With what kind of lithium? Where do you think that is coming from? Yeah. And these are a lot of strategic issues. But also our farmers have exporting opportunities to Latin America. You know, the wine exports, Cypriot wine will find a way to Latin America, I'm sure. With a trade deal like this. But like trade, we also need defense investments and cooperation.
Do you like the way that they're doing the defense, this ReArm Europe?
No, I didn't. I think I think that's one big smokescreen. You know what? You know what the ReArm Europe is to show Washington, yeah, we're gonna spend 800 billion, but we're not spending any of that, yeah? It's not gonna happen because many countries, they have too much debt. And they don't care whether the Commission ignores the debt. They care whether the financial markets, what they do. And if it becomes more expensive for them to borrow money, they will not do it. Yeah, because France is already in a danger zone when it comes to their public debt. Italy,
explain me. I don't understand how they are not going to do it.
Well, because at the moment, Italy and France and Spain, they have big public debt problems, which means that the financial markets, they're looking very carefully at the government to see if they can pay for that debt in the future. If now, and then the Commission now says, okay, if you get more debt to invest in defense, we will not apply the rules of the European rules for the Eurozone, etc., etc. But that's not really the point. The point is whether the financial markets will accept that France goes more into the debt situation. And then they will say, no, France, we don't believe that you can pay it back. We will increase your interest rates. Yes, it will become more expensive for France to finance their public investments. And so they will not risk that because they have been downgraded already many times now. I think if they are downgraded by one of the rating agencies again, they have a massive, massive problem. So they've already said, we will not use that instrument, So
you think that this was a public stunt?
It was a bit of a PR thing, yeah. And because you know what? For me, the Commission should have done one thing. Said, okay, leaders of all these member states, give me agreed common European projects, and then we bring the money. Yes? But now what they did...
You mean for common military?
Yes, common defense ideas, concepts.
Which we like both.
Which we like. We need capabilities, yeah? Because being able to
There is no reason for all of us to do single defense.
Exactly. But what
to share knowledge, to do all this powerful... to become stronger together.
Yeah.
United in diversity.
No, but the fund, basically what it does, it gives money for national projects. Yeah, it does the same. Also, just like the recovery fund money is another one of these big investment funds. Yeah, you create European debt, but you have national projects. Sorry, if Europe is going to make debt, and I'm very cautious with that. I'm very critical. But if you do it, at least you do European projects and not national projects. And now what we do with the European budget...
Do the treaties allow us?
Of course. It's just because there's no political will. But that's why I'm saying also to the Commission, stop helping member states doing their small stuff. We need more ambition. We need bigger projects that go beyond the member states. And that's how we can...
So you want stronger Europe in not more power to the states. You want some power also to the EU because that will make...
No. My line is...
Please explain maybe this.
I want Europe to do less. But the stuff we do together, we should do it much better. Yeah?
Okay.
You get it? So I don't want Europe to get into all kinds of policy areas like social affairs and all kinds
that's why I'm saying I agree with 90% with you. We see it here. I agree. It's interesting, guys. If you notice, I voted for 90% of your stuff because I agreed with the content that you wrote. So I see here similarly, we agree on the philosophical ideas 90%. So but on the same page.
Do less. The problem is we do so much over promising and so much under delivering. Yeah, and that's why people are disappointed. We should just be a bit more quiet. Do less stuff, but do the stuff much better. Yeah?
Focus,
priorities. Yes. And at the moment, some stuff is simply not a priority. There is war in Europe. I know you're very worried about the war. Huh? You want to end the war. But we are still in La La Land, in sort of, we're doing everything. Everything is important. No, not everything is important. There's war. There's a global trade, a huge global trade problem. People cannot pay the electricity bills. Young people cannot find affordable houses. How the hell are we going to solve all the problems? Europe needs to focus on the big things, yeah? Big on big things and shut up on the rest. Let that to the member state, let that to the regions, to the municipalities, because people already have a feeling that they lost control of politics. Yeah.
And what are these top priorities as a conclusion of this? So you said, I agree, do less, do them effective. I agree with this philosophy, but what are the priorities you think that?
Well, for now, it's economy and security. Yeah, it's clear. I think we have an economic problem because
you say security also because of Russia and also because there's a potential of no NATO and stuff.
Yeah, of course. I think NATO is here to stay. I'm not very scared about that. But there's a lot of security threats, cybersecurity threats, new technological developments, dependencies that Europe is very exposed, We're not good in protecting ourselves. And that's what we need to start to understand.
So economy and security,
economy
that you think is the focus.
Economic security for people. People are suffering in a lot of places even the middle classes are feeling this now in Europe. Why do you think everyone is voting for like very extreme voices? Yeah? Why are people voting for the simple solutions? Yeah, in this life, in this world, simple solutions.
Yeah, why people are voting for me? I don't know.
I do know.
I am the example because I didn't know about politics. I'm the simple solution. I'm the voice of these people.
Yes.
Maybe it turns out that I'm good and effective in a good way, but this is what you mean.
Because people want to be represented by people that are also anti-politics. Yeah. So that's also something that is a big message to the rest of the establishment parties, like the EPP as well. The EPP is an establishment party.
Is the definition. ECR, I think, is also a very establishment.
They have become, but they used to be. They used to be a bit more
in a sneaky way that I don't like. But only when they're interested, they don't really have.
Well, they don't really work together as a group. It depends. Sometimes they work together. Sometimes they don't.
I think they are more establishment than you are. You are the establishment of you are the biggest political group. Huge history, but yeah. Anyway, that was a funny.
Exactly. So what we need to do, I don't think we have, we need to start to understand this message, also the message of what you have in a way, why you are here. Yeah. Just simply the symptom of Fidesz, you sitting here in the European Parliament in an office with a mandate shows that this is a European issue. People are fed up with politics. They want practical solutions in Europe for the big issues. Sort the security situation out. Sort the economy out. Just simply do stuff. Yeah? Not just talking, and slow, complicated. The same goes for national politics. The bureaucracy in national politics, it's maybe even worse than here, It's even worse. Go look at the tax systems, the social security systems, the energy grids. They all have a huge problem. Did you see what happened in Spain?
Yes.
Crazy. Yeah, crazy. But there's big
in
questions.
Spain, it was an outrage.
The apagón,
power.
The power outage in Portugal as
well.
Which
we don't know yet.
We don't know what it was. But they lost the energy levels for hours and hours and hours. People died because of it. Yeah. So it's serious shit. But this is public sort of. Where's the state here?
Yeah.
So it will be super challenging times. You're lucky. You're 25. You'll live to see all this.
And maybe I'm
a bit older.
I have this funny feeling. People will laugh, but maybe we're the last generation that will die, or the first generation that will live forever.
No, I'm not so much older than you. I have 3 kids, yeah. So I have something.
What's the old there?
The oldest is 12.
Cool.
So you need to start, thinking about it.
What?
A little Fidesz, no?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting ready soon. So I have two last questions. By the way, we're going to do this. I told you and you accepted already because I want, since we're here, guys, I have a big vision for this kind of podcast. The last 8 months, because I was focused so much on policy, this was just my way of meeting other people and doing like networking. It was not really about the video. I didn't really focus, but it was good to start from the beginning and do all these things.
And did the people like it? Did they sort of engage with it?
Yeah,
Are you happy with that?
We got 2.5 billion views, so I'm happy with the views in 8 months.
Yeah,
it's a lot of views. I think
it's amazing
because I know the capabilities of what is possible on social media. This can really become very big, like on MEPs to debate on things. Like there is a new thing that we're going to vote, and like the way that people get information about Europe, and it can be translated to a lot of language as well with the AI and all this stuff. In a year, I think this will be possible with even our voices in different languages. Now then, like you saw that Zelensky and Lex Friedman interview, and like it's crazy that what they're able to do. So I think there is a big potential for this podcast. So yeah, we're going to bring him also in the future, guys, to make debates with other MEPs. Write in the comments below ideas of other MEPs or topics that you want to discuss about the economy and all this stuff. We're going to read and take them carefully. And the last two questions. What do you think about our podcast today?
I like it. I mean, this is, open, honest conversations, and simply don't pretend to have the answer to everything, because we don't. We don't. And that's why it's what we said. We need to show that politics is us, It's about us. It is us. And I want to be accessible and open to feedback from your viewers, from your followers, and the whole community out there. Because it's important. It's important to connect, especially these young generations, with the future of Europe. And I'm very worried about that now. So I'm happy. That's why I'm here, I told you I want to help you out with this. And the importance of it is not us, it's the topic. It's what are we going to do? No bullshitting. What
but in a fun way, like we're joking. We talk about very serious stuff that the government of the European Union is fucking us, basically. and we did it in a fun way. This is how things have been done. Anyways, last question.
Yeah.
You are going to die in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
What do you want your last words to be in this planet if this was actually your last 30 seconds?
Well, do better than us. Do better than us.
Thank you. Thank you guys for listening until the end. We love you.
Take care. Ciao.